welcome again, once again, to the next installment of the Maximum Performance webinar series. We, of course, here at Maximum Acceleration, the professionals coaching company, we started this webinar series back in October of 2012 with the goal of bringing together a community of learning, originators and realtors who were focused on how to grow their business dramatically, who wanted and were willing to invest their time and energy in getting access to high caliber content that's going to help you power up your business. And as we get ready for the launch into the next portion of the series this year, we've got some exciting programming and content coming up for you, and one of the ones I'm most excited about today, we have guest speaker Geoff Zimpfer, who is a longtime mortgage professional, a great friend over the years, has become an author, a speaker, a trainer, currently serves as the chief content guy for Mortgage Marketing Institute, and he'll tell you a little bit more about that and what that involves a little bit later in the program. But today's program is focused on power partnering for 2016 and how to dramatically increase your business this year through being a bigger and bigger asset to the folks in your community that have the opportunity to help you grow your practice and make a bigger difference in the community. So without further ado, Geoff, I'm going to have you go ahead and jump in and get started right away.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, Erik. And let's just do one more final check on the audio. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Guys, go ahead and chime into the Q&A section and let us know. Yes, they can.
Yeah, and by the way,
good feedback with that.
Yeah, sorry. So I'm getting a little ahead of myself. One of the things I usually like people to do as well is while you're typing in the questions, as Erik said, this is going to be an interactive session. So first order of business, we're in a virtual setting, so I can't see your hands go up. I can't just directly ask you a question face to face. So that's why we're going to rely on that chat box that you're using. So real quickly, take a second and let me know what part of the country you are actually dialing in from today. Let me know, because I want to know if you're near me, near Erik, or somewhere else. We get people from all over the country, and one time we had somebody from Australia on this as well. So go ahead and type into the box what part of the country, and as you see those come in, just a couple of quick shout outs, Erik, on where you're seeing people.
Illinois, Kansas, Midwest, New Jersey, Southern California, Virginia, Northeast, Philadelphia, snowy Michigan, cold and wintry up there, Mountain Home, Arkansas, Indiana, New York, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Las Vegas, Arizona, San Jose, California. Yeah, I think Louisiana, we got a good representation from all over the country.
All right. Awesome. Thank you very much for that, everybody. All right, so without further ado, let's get right into it, right? Obviously, per Erik's introduction, and by the way, thank you for that, we're here to talk about power partnering for 2016, and it's a subject that's near and dear to my heart. Hopefully it is near and dear to your heart as well, because I, as well as I know Erik, are on the same page in believing that in order to have sustainability, consistency in production, minimize the roller coaster effect in your business, that you need to have multiple pillars of income or sources, if you will, for business. And one of those, one key pillar, one of the most successful pillars you can build to have long-term consistency in your business is referral partners. Specifically for me, my interest and purpose for today is real estate agents as referral partners. And so we're going to be talking about strategies to more effectively partner with real estate agents. Our agenda, real quick, just so you know. Number one, I'm going to talk about the only 3 ways to boost your income in 2016. I assume some of you are here today because you want to grow your income in 2016. I'm going to show you that there's only 3 ways you can do that. So very simple. Next, we're going to talk about creating your ideal business plan. Obviously, Erik is, of course, an expert in business planning and coaching, and he's going to help guide you along the path towards creating a better plan for you in 2016. Obviously, as mentioned, I'm going to show you a proven process for doubling your agent referrals in just 90 days. So hopefully you listening and watching right now would be interested in how to do that. And then lastly, how to actually build a platform. You know, part of the success in being able to capture and convert real estate agents is, first of all, you got to be known, right? People have to know you exist. And the way that you become known in today's world is different than it was even just 5 years ago. The rules have essentially changed. So I'm going to talk about building your platform and becoming the known go-to lender in your local area. So that's the agenda. Let's get in it. A quick background on me. I just share this not as to wave a flag, but just I think when it's relevant so you know who you're dealing with, what my background is. Quick story, before getting into the mortgage business in 2007, I had spent about 12 years of that actually in the seminar business, traveling all around North America and being a speaker promoter for people like Anthony Robbins, Brian Tracy, Jim Rohn back in the days when he was still alive. If anybody knows who Jim Rohn is, give me a little shout out in the box. Love to see that. And I just share this with you because what we're going to be talking about today is actually one of the tools for building your local platform with real estate agents is by giving educational presentations, workshops, lunch and learns, and things like that. I believe, and I think a lot of other people who get on the program believe that it's the most cost-effective, quickest way, leveraged activity for quickly capturing real estate agent relationships and building your awareness among local real estate agents. With that said, Erik pointed out in the introduction that I too am one of you, having been a producing loan officer, starting as a kind of a broker with internet leads, as I said, back in 2007. Quick story as I progressed all through the usual ranks of retail loan originator back in the heydays of Countrywide Loans, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, etc. And the bottom line is I have been in your shoes. If you're struggling, if you're frustrated with how to capture real estate agent relationships and build those referrals, I've been there. I know what it's like. It's one of the reasons why I wrote the book, Instant Referrals for Mortgage Professionals, is because I, through trial and error and several years of dragging my feet and getting bloody nose, figured out that the most effective way to do that is simply get in front of more realtors in a shorter amount of time. How do you do that? It's not onesie-twosie over coffee. It's not knocking on doors, broker previews, and things like that. Those are all relevant, activities. And do they work? Sure. But the problem is they're hit and miss. And I wanted something that was more predictable, more systematic, where I could rely on a certain number of new agent relationships that would equal new referrals on an ongoing, consistent basis. So the impact for me in my career when I put that into place was I literally went from zero production, because when you start at a mortgage company, and let me ask you guys the first question here of our official time here together. How many of you feel the training for how to succeed with agents is lacking at your current company or maybe your past company? Anybody share that same fate? And if you see a couple of comments quickly, Erik, let me know when they come in.
Absolutely, definitely, yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah, there's not much training provided. A lot of times it's here's a phone on the desk, good luck, right?
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, that's still the case. So that's really, what drove me. I'd say a larger part of me and my purpose in life is to be a facilitator, a teacher, somebody who's able to be a catalyst for helping somebody else achieve results, which is why I've migrated right from being a mortgage loan originator to being, hopefully a meaningful author, trainer, coach, speaker, whatever you want to call it, content provider. That's what I'm really all about. Okay, so let's get into it. How people buy obviously has changed. Has anybody noticed this? I mean, in terms of the days of cold calling to get appointments doesn't work anymore. Matter of fact, this stat pretty much sums it all, that only 2% of cold calls result in an appointment. Now, I don't want to ask how many of you here are still making cold calls to try and capture real estate agents. Some of you may be. If you are, I feel for you. And I used to do it as well. And I want to point out, am I saying, or is this statistic saying that cold calls never work and you can never get appointments? No. It's simply about, look, how many hours do you have in a day to be productive in your outbound activity for generating new business, right? So if you only got a finite amount of time to do that, then we need to engage our time as often as possible in those most leveraged tasks that have the biggest return on ROI. What comes to mind when I talk about that is you think about the lottery hype, right? That's all over the news, right? What is it, $1.3 billion or whatever? And it's essentially, it's legalized gambling, right? But if you look at, if you were going to win and you make a $2 investment to win that 1.3 billion, whatever it is, that is an extremely low risk bet. That's a high leveraged activity. That means for the $2 you put in, you could get a massive return. Now, let's be honest. You're not going to win, right? None of us on this call are going to win. But I'm trying to illustrate the point of being involved in leveraged activities. And cold calls are not highly leveraged. They're extremely time-intensive, labor-intensive, largely unproductive, and over the long term, right, can even be detrimental to your success, your momentum, your personal excitement about your career. So first and foremost, how people buy has changed, right? Interruption marketing, which is what a cold call is, right? It's dead, okay? It has been dead for a long time, but there's still people engaged in it and out there. And the reason why it's dead is because the world has become a very noisy place. Online, right? As much as online we need to be and have a presence online, and I definitely talk about that in different sessions, but it's very noisy online, right? Look at the amount of time people spend staring at their screen, texting, Facebooking, etc., right? And how many of those activities are leading us to actual productive results? Truth be told, probably very few. So it's a noisy online world, and it's getting more and more noisy all the time, and the truth is people drown it out, right? What they do is they drown out the irrelevant stuff or the stuff that doesn't capture their attention, and they simply put up a radar that tells their brain, I only am going to notice things that are relevant and make a difference for me and capture my interest. So how's that relevant to what we're talking about here today? Well, when you think about it in the context of us as mortgage professionals, we're trying to get, realtor relationships. If we're doing it the traditional way, cold calling, if we're like spamming people over email and things like that, we're interrupting them and we're simply not being heard, not being noticed because of all the noise. And the other issue, which I'll talk about, is we're oftentimes just engaged in clone marketing. We're doing the same thing everybody else is doing. So that old traditional way that we've been taught, if you've been in this business for a while, simply isn't as effective as it used to be. I'm sure you've all noticed this pattern out there over the last few years that the rules have changed about engagement and how people buy, right? You think about how you buy, right? You go online, you do your research, you get investigated, you try and develop some connection to a company or a brand perhaps, but how you buy changes based on what you're doing. How you build relationships, which is what we're talking about with real estate agents, fundamentally still hasn't changed in terms of what drives a successful relationship. It's how you get there that you need to change, that has changed, right? The rules have changed. And it comes back to this concept of content marketing. How many of you here out there, just a quick show of hands, have heard this term content marketing? Yes or no? What are we seeing
Looks like
out
most
there?
of the audience. And it's about 50-50. We got yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, yes, yes. Yeah,
Okay,
about 50%.
great. So let me quickly define what content marketing is, right? Long paragraph here, but just focus on the words for a moment, right? What is content marketing? Simply, it's a strategy for attracting and retaining customers by creating and distributing valuable, relevant content that engages, assists, or informs a clearly defined target audience, the ultimate goal being to drive profitable action. If I read it all, just all the letters, words in red, it's strategy, attracting, retaining, creating, distributing, informing, targeting, drive action. What are we saying here, right? We're saying that content marketing is any type of information in a variety of different forms that is targeted towards my specific market, that is valuable and relevant to them, that helps them solve a particular problem and drive a specific action. Now that's a lot of words, but if I summed it up even simpler, is if I'm thinking about partnering with real estate agents, I want to attract real estate agents in my local community. I want to become known as a local thought leader who's providing relevant content that's helping them solve problems in their business. The ultimate goal, the action I want to drive, is to attract them to want to work with me because I'm providing more relevant value than my competitors. Does that make sense? Does that sound like a good summary, Erik?
Absolutely.
Cool. So what we're talking about is educate and inform instead of interrupt and sell. All right. Hopefully everybody gets that concept. Let me talk about the 3 steps to grow your income in 2016 because that's why we're all here. I'm going to give it to you very straightforward, very simple. Okay? How do you grow your income this year? Number 1, increase your loan units. Right? What does that mean? That means the number of loans you fund and close on a monthly, quarterly, annual basis. Pretty simple. Other ways to grow your income, increase your fees. So obviously the amount of fees you can earn on a different type of loan, depending on the company you're with, etc., that can vary. But obviously that's another way to grow kind of your average income per loan, is increase the fees you earn on that. And lastly, increase the average loan amount. Hence, right, do more $1 million loans. If you make the same basis points, you're going to make, right, higher fees per loan, thus ultimately more income. So those are the only three ways to make more money in 2016. That's it. Either do more loans, increase the amount of money you earn per loan, or increase the actual loan amount, the average loan amount, so that your ultimate income compensation from those same loan units is higher. So what I focus on is, number one, increasing the loan units. And the reason why is because, right, I can't control the amount of fees you charge. I can't, or like, help people charge more fees, right? There's different issues that go into that, as we all know. And I can't necessarily directly impact the average loan amount that you do, the you know, getting higher up into the tier of, like, going from a $300,000 average loan amount to a 6 or 7 or 8 or what have you. And the reason why is because I'm very focused on what I can help you with, and that is increasing the amount of referrals you get from real estate agents. That's what I'm about. So if you came here today and want to learn more about that, you're at the right place. If that's not for you, thanks for attending. Stick around. You'll still learn some good stuff. Let's talk about how you do that, though. Now, obviously, our focus is creating your ideal business plan. And as I said earlier, Erik is, of course, the expert as far as I'm concerned when it comes to creating a business plan that works. So, Erik, you've got a couple of comments you want to talk
definitely.
about here.
Well, guys, I mean, here's the thing. One of the things we've learned over the years, the dozens, you know, the hundreds of clients we've had the privilege and honor of working with in coaching and training and development full-time since 2004, is that the traditional business planning model in many cases is broken. You know, if you've ever been part of a strategic planning initiative with a corporation or something like that, often a strategic planning project works along the lines of using first what's called a SWOT analysis, right? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? Strengths and weaknesses, what are the things we're good at internally? Opportunities and threats, what are the issues that surround us in our market, in our community, that have impact on our ability to grow? And in many cases, we do sort of this assessing, planning, and execution process to react to the environment around us and make incremental, moderate change or growth. And the biggest failing of that is that it forgets to ask the question, well, what are we really trying to accomplish anyway? I mean, what is it that is our ultimate goal? And then works backwards to, you know, to find a way to get there, because it's a lot easier if we have a very clear picture and vision of what we're trying to create, to then go back and assess what are the challenges or obstacles that are going to be in the way of getting from here to there. How do we overcome those challenges, and then create a step-by-step follow-through and action plan, including the repetition and reinforcement necessary to make sure that those ideas get implemented. And so one of the key things that we look at when it comes to business planning is within each cycle of that, first of all, whether you're talking about a one-year goal of, you know, adding 10 new business partners in the next year that you could depend on for, you know, a good loan a month, so that you're consistently doing 10 loans a month, or whether you are, you know, trying to go to, you know, 200, 250, you know, 300 loans a year, whatever volume you want to go to, the first thing you also have to begin to realize is nothing is impossible. It's really simply a matter of strategy, resources, and the appropriate application of both. If you doubt me on that concept, take into account something like Quicken Loans, right? 2008, they didn't exist. Last year, they're one of the largest mortgage companies in the United States. Now, obviously, they have massive resources being backed by a multinational global corporation, you know, worth billions and billions of dollars into it, as well as they had strategy. You know, you can debate whether they execute on promise or not, or whether it's false advertising, but they are engineered to amaze, and they've done a good job communicating that to the general market community, and that's why they've done the volume that they've done. That's that kind of, you know, quadruple-digit year-over-year growth that they've experienced over their existence. So what we really talk about is what are the key things to growing the business and to achieving a higher level of performance. Well, whether it's that, you know, that 5 to 7 year long-range vision, the one-year goal or objectives, or even the short-term, how to go about setting up the kind of resources that get you in front of a couple dozen potential agents that you could create value for, as Geoff has shared with you, it comes down to the cycles within cycles, you know, and at every stage, as if you follow that 5-step process, begin with the end in mind. What's my purpose? What are the things that I care about? What's going to drive my paycheck? Then follow through with identifying what's in my way between here and there, and then how to find and solve problems for that. You're going to create an accelerated cycle of growth. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the final step, which is the refinement and the implementation, right? we've all heard the phrase or the comment, knowledge is power, right? Well, here's the problem. Does knowledge have any power if it's not implemented? I don't care how wonderful an idea is or how well you understand something. It has no value unless you do something with it. So what we're really talking about is behavioral change, right? And if you talk about behavioral change, you're really talking about changing habits. And to change habits, it takes an extensive amount of repetition and reinforcement over time to create new habits. And until those habits become internalized, sort of muscle memory, automatic behavior, you need the external resource accountability and repetition to maintain the behavior until it becomes a habit. So that's one of the key areas where you could create massive value. And as Geoff is sharing with you today, being an asset and resource, sharing powerful concepts and ideas, being the resource and asset that's going to help those business development partners do substantially more volume. And a lot of it comes down to kind of a numbers thing. The reality is if I want to do 10 loans a month as an originator, I can go out and cold call renters, for example. And how many dozens of renters do I have to call to find one family who's reasonably interested in making the jump into ownership, right? Maybe 1 out of 10, 1 out of 15, 1 out of 20, whatever it is. If I want to do 10 loans next month and I know it's 1 out of 10, I just make 100 phone calls, which is, 10 calls a day for 10 business days or 20 calls a day for 20 business days. But that's a grind. That's that old-fashioned interruption marketing style of approach. But what if over the next 6 months or 12 months I can establish strong partnerships and become an asset and resource helping agents plan out how they want to grow their business that helps them focus on how to find one good family they can help improve their living situation a week? Well, if I'm helping agents, and let's say I establish 8 to 10 solid business partnerships over the next 12 months that are helping at least find one family a week that they can introduce to helping them market or sell their property, upgrade their home, move from renting to ownership, or all the other opportunities that are out there for people to improve or families to improve their living situation, then the net result is I've helped 10 agents get to a better place in life. And I've helped 10 agents help dozens of families every month get to a better place in life. And by sharing concepts, ideas, and strategies, and by being the resource that helps those agents stay on focus and stay on track with the behavior necessary to continue to do the marketing appropriate to find the families that they can help that lead to the results that that agent is seeking to obtain from a lead generation and a unit volume production standpoint, then I've accomplished what I set out to do in the first place, which was to hit my own income targets. And so that 3-step process of setting purpose-driven goals, deciding the best strategy, and then holding people accountable and being the masterminding resource and running buddy that helps them execute on plan over time is an extremely valuable way of helping agents grow their business, especially when you talk this time of year when people are preparing for the busy season to come.
Well said. Thank you very much. I think the three bullets you've got here on the screen, 3 keys to a winning plan, it really makes sense, right? And that's really what we're talking about here, set purpose-driven goals. And those can be specific around, right, acquisition numbers about real estate agents, how many agents do I want to acquire on a monthly, quarterly basis, et cetera. Decide on the strategy. I think number 2, right, all these are important, and a lot of people forget about the strategy, or at least that's what I'm here to help people identify is the strategy, because I talked earlier about, cold calling and the ineffective outbound kind of methods, and that's why I believe, and I'll show you some results that back that up, I believe that, look, if capturing real estate agents is a numbers game, we know we got to kiss a lot of toads, et cetera, before we find our prince, then how do I do that in the most effective, most efficient way, right? It's not going to be cold calling. It's not going to be onesie-twosie coffee meetings. It's going to be, if I need to have a core of 10, 20, matter of fact, nowadays you need more agents than you used to in the past just because of the market changes and things like that. But let's just say you want to get to 20 core agents, right? And you're not getting a loan a month from all of those, right? It varies in terms of the frequency of the loans you receive. We all know that. But you want to have 20 in your core so that over the course of that longer term, quarterly, 6 months, a year, right, you're getting the referral numbers and the closing ratios that you want. I think it's about, like I said earlier, right, the leveraged activity. How are you going to do that? How are you going to get to 20 agents? By the way, right now, if you could, everybody listening and watching right now, type into your box how many core agents that you have a good solid relationship with right now. Just that number. Is it 1, 0, 5, 10? I just want to get a sense of where you guys are at on that. And
let's see, responses coming through are 3, 6, 3, 5, 12, 5, 10. The others are fickle, 3, 6, 12, 3, 8.
A lot of 3, 6, 12. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, a lot of 3, 6, 8s, and 10s.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you for that. And I think it goes without saying that, hey, if you wanted to double your loan volume, right, double the amount of referral partners you get. I don't know if that's how the math shakes out, but I just know that, again, it's a numbers game, and that the larger group of engagements and relationships we have, assuming we maintain those and, continue to add value, the assumption is we're going to continue to get, increased results from that. Now, a lot of what I talk about is, people, get further in depth with kind of my coursework is that you're going to have your A, B, and C players, right? You're going to have your A players who are just tight, consistent. They send you deals consistently. And you get your B players and you get your C players, right? And that's okay, right? It's just like any company, right? They have their premier customers, et cetera, and then they've got perhaps their lesser tier customers, different levels of service, different levels of commitment, if you will. And that's okay to have that in your business as well. So I would think that the takeaway from that previous slide there, Erik, is lastly, let's not forget execute and refine. It's always a refinement process, right? Everything. We know that. So referral partners. Why realtors? I want to highlight this just in case anybody's curious, because Erik, you talked about renters as an example, right? I could cold call renters. I could send mailers to renters, whatever it is. There's multiple ways to get business out there, but keep in mind, I'm talking about leveraged activities. And why I focus on realtors, I think is obvious, right? If you look at every single year, the National Association of Realtors comes out with its profile of home buyers and sellers report. You can get it online. It's free as a PDF. Just Google that thing. But what you'll see in there is consistently, right, people are, yes, they're searching online for homes, right? We all know that. But bottom line is still 70+% of people are engaging a real estate agent to conduct a real estate transaction, right? And the truth of the matter is they're only contacting one agent before selecting them to assist with their home sale. So to my point about contacting renters or other sources of buyers, FSBOs, et cetera, whatever you guys want to do, listen, everything works at some point, right? And it works if you're committed to it and believe in it and follow through on it. But what is a leveraged activity, right? How can I multiply my results? Well, if I know that, right, the realtors are still top of the funnel, technology has not displaced them, and it's not going to anytime soon, because the amount of engagement that buyers have with agents has consistently increased over the years, even with the internet. They're still relying on agents. They're still relying on friends and family of who's going to refer that agent. I want to be in that conversation. I want to be top of mind when a real estate agent is getting that buyer referral, right? Oh, look, hey, Mary Sue just came in as a lead from so-and-so, and they need well, obviously the first thing the smart realtor is going to do is have them get pre-qualified. So I want to be top of mind for as many agents as I can. Why? Because for those of you who know this just as well as I do, if you've got a good agent relationship and you get the referral, right, there oftentimes is less selling that you have to do, less convincing, less rate shopping, et cetera. I'm not saying it's across the board. You're not going to just slam dunk. People are going to lay down and say, oh, yeah, Mary Sue Realtor referred me. Hey, I'm just have at me. Right? First-time home buyers, maybe there's all kinds of nuances to that. But the point being is the investment of time and resources it takes to get that buyer lead to your desk, to your phone, right, is much less than other external sources such as renter leads, internet, SEO, whatever it is that you want to do. It's a very leveraged engagement with real estate agents, and that's why I'm a big believer in it. And hopefully y'all listening to this feel the same or similar as well. All right, let's move on here. And lastly, I guess conceptually, as you think about it, realtors are an oil well, right? What's an oil well? Hey, once that oil is tapped, right, you discover where the oil wells are, right? The oil continues to produce, or the referrals continue to produce consistently over the long term. And all it takes to maintain that is just ongoing maintenance, as I said. All right, so we know this to be true. We talked about some of the limitations earlier in terms of the challenges. As I said, I alluded to earlier, right, As I'm out there working amongst loan officers, trying to capture real estate agents, you heard me say before that most people are still engaged in the clone marketing. They have no system is, I think, the biggest issue. And Erik, you alluded to this on your earlier slide, is strategy, right, and actually having a process. And most loan officers simply go about this from the shooting from the hip. They get out there and they want to mix it up a little bit, so they get out and they get active in their local community. Then they go back and they do some loans, and then the referrals fall off, and the relationships go stale because they got refis, and so they don't stay consistent because they have no predictable process for, number one, capturing real estate agents over here on the left. Number two, engaging them. And this says collecting data. This simply refers to, right, engagement, learning more about them, their struggles, their pains, their hopes, their desires, etc. Building, and then lastly, building a relationship, right, which leads to a sale. You guys have heard the acronym before, KLT. People don't buy until they know, like, and trust you. Well, how many agents even know you? How many agents like you? How many agents trust you? That's a process. It doesn't happen over time. I'm sorry, it doesn't happen immediately. It happens over time. And it doesn't happen with you showing up just going, hey, got any loans you can send me, okay? You want to sound like everybody else, show up and with your hand out and say, you got any loans you can send me, okay? In today's world, we started out by saying the traditional sales model is broken. People don't buy the way they used to. People buy now after some level of engagement, some level of trust and likability being built. The truth of the matter is it's always been the same. It's always been like that. We just have different tools and mechanisms for doing that today. And I'm a big believer in that. With it being so noisy online, you have to also incorporate some type of an offline strategy to be able to rise above the noise and capture their attention. So let's talk about how to double your agent referrals in 90 days. I've seen this happen countless time and time again. And it purely comes down to how many agents are you getting in front of, and are you rising above the noise that I keep talking about out there. I'm proposing to you today that the way for you to double your agent referrals in the next 90 days and rise above the noise is by you positioning yourself as a thought leader in your local community and building a local platform. What do I mean by building a local platform? I mean you establishing yourself as a known identity and presence in your local agent community as somebody as a provider of relevant content, resources, tips, tools, strategies, as a hub, if you will, of resources for real estate agents that helps them achieve their goals. That's what I'm proposing to you here today. Does anybody think that's a good idea? I'm just curious. I wanted to ask you. Anybody not down with that? Feel free to say, not a good idea, Geoff, waste of time. Definitely open to feedback.
Definitely a lot of yeses coming through the line right now. Yeah, a lot of people think that's a cool idea.
Okay.
So let's talk about how.
All right, Erik, keep me on track. Let's talk about how. Well, in his book, Michael Hyatt, who wrote Platform, Get Noticed in a Noisy World, I actually extrapolated a few concepts from that book and put them specifically to the mortgage and real estate space. But this is a quick summary of the 5 steps to doing that. Number 1 is start with wow. And what does that mean? Well, it means it's in line with that content marketing that we're talking about. Very few, if you look around your local community of loan officers, very few of them are providing realtor ideas, tools, and resources in various formats, whether it's an educational lunch and learn, whether it's a blog that provides videos, audios, infographics, downloadable resources and stuff for agents to help them in their business. Very few are doing that. Those that do are standing out from the crowd. Right? So number 1, you got to start with wow. And just for time, I'm going to skip right over a couple of these. Number 3, build your home base, right? What does that mean? That means build your local platform, right? Do you live in California? Then why are you trying to build an online presence unless you're doing loans outside of the state, right? You want to build a local presence. So there's ways to do that locally online, but when it comes to agents specifically, right, you're going to have your best success if you build your home base locally, expand your reach, number 4 here. That means get more agents aware of who you are, and then engage your tribe, right? You want to engage them on a consistent basis. And what does that mean by tribe? Well, another author I recommend you check out if you haven't heard of Seth Godin, just an incredible, intelligent guy. But what tribe is this? It's a group of people connected to one another, connected to a leader, that's you, and connected to an idea, right? So what we're talking about here is you building your local tribe of real estate agents. They're all connected to one another as well. They're connected to you. The idea is you are there as a resource as a giver, right? There's another book, The Go-Giver, right? You're there to give, right? Give and you shall receive. Has anybody heard that before? It's lasted thousands of years because it's true, right? Reciprocation, right? That's another strategy, a psychological principle that if you give, people will be inclined to reciprocate. And that is the strategy behind building your local platform and becoming a thought leader. That's what we're talking about. Stop selling, start helping, okay? And as I've alluded to through this presentation here, what I'm talking about doing is giving live presentations. We're setting aside the online conversations for the moment because live presentations, let me tell you why they make sense. Number one, if you're looking to build relationships, 4 out of 6 of the most important elements of building a relationship cannot be achieved without being in person, right? So these are things like tone of voice, facial expressions, body language, things like that, right? If you want to build successful relationships, right, you got to be in person. You obviously didn't get married to your spouse without eventually getting in front of them person to person and developing that rapport and that connection and chemistry, etc. And you actually accelerate the process of relationship building when you're in person. Okay, again, not to minimize online, relevant, just for today we're focusing on this. And then the other piece of information here, again, these are data points, right, of a study that was done by a content marketing trend company, Marketing Profs Institute, and that is this. Companies were surveyed about what's the most effective tactics for building business out there, and they said that 74% of the people believe that in-person events were the most effective tool versus newsletters, videos, social media, etc. Right? 74% believe it was the most effective. I think for the elements we've already talked about, right, in terms of building relationships. Lastly, why live presentations make the most sense in capturing agents? Number one, you can reach these agents, right? A lot of agents aren't in the office. Top producers, they work from their homes or whatever. They're tough to reach. We're talking about reverse prospecting. When you start holding presentations, lunch and learns, networking meetings, etc., you're now reversing the process, and now agents are coming to you. You're not having to go out and prospect them. You're using that as a way to break into closed offices, right, and actually beat the in-house lender. I cannot tell you how many loan officers I talk to who start doing presentations and tell me they get invited into the real estate office with the in-house lender, and they're getting invited in to give a presentation with the in-house lender sitting in the chair. How's that for a Trojan horse, right? That's powerful, right? Obviously, you accelerate your success like I talked about, and you're building that local market dominance. It's simply relationship building on the fast track because, as we've said, it's a numbers game, right? You have to sift and sort through a lot of agents, and it's just more efficient and effective to get in front of small groups and use that as your first meeting, build your initial relationship there, start to build rapport there, and then leverage that into the ongoing one-on-one relationships that you're going to build. Okay. So I think this is the pause point, Eric, where we maybe take a few questions via the chat function, because I'm sure people have some.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll fire one of the first ones off is you know, one of the questions that came in early in the program is you know, you're talking about live presentations, you're talking about overcoming them. One of the biggest obstacles that audiences often and loan officers often struggle with is you know, how to come up with the time and energy to develop content. Particularly, you know, relevant content that's important to helping agents. So what are some of the hot topics right now that that you find the originators are wanting to present, and where can they get resources?
Yeah, great question. I would rephrase it this way: is that, you know, it's a lot of originators come in and they think, you know, I'm going to present my mortgage topics, and I would tell you more often than not, no, you're not going to talk about mortgage topics as the main topic of the presentation. Why? Because you're not going to get realtors out to learn about mortgage programs. They're simply not going to come unless there's some new announcement or change, such as TRID, or back in the days when FHA was, you know, changing their guidelines, etc. By and large, again, we're talking about stop selling, start helping, right? We're talking about serving. So topics that are relevant are anything that, you know, it's a lot, actually, when you think about it, it's the same types of topics that you as a mortgage professional want to learn more about. Marketing, business development, business planning, how do I succeed online? How about this new market called millennials, right, as the next largest segment of first-time home buyers. So what I do and how I help people is by actually helping them come up with the content of what to present on a quarterly basis and putting that together. So maybe that answers the question, and you tell me, Eric, where should we go from here?
Well, and I guess I'll throw in just, what are topics that are relevant? What are the things that agents ask you about frequently?
That's right.
I mean, outside of the updates about loan program and product stuff, especially, the tail end of the year or beginning of the next year is, it's all about business planning and being proactive in generating leads versus being a lead receiver. It's about marketing strategies and approaches, and maybe even taking it to the level of helping them find good potential business partners like estate planning attorneys and pillars of referrals that they could establish and how to help them do that. That becomes one of the hottest topics. Another one would be stuff like credit repair and issues about how to help consumers overcome the hurdles or obstacles they experience in making the transition into ownership. Those kind of things. How to better leverage relationships with professionals in the community who have large databases like insurance agents. Those kind of content ideas, topics. How to get more referrals, how to keep a stream of reconnections with past clients. Those are some of the topics that we find ourselves working on with our coaching clients frequently. And Geoff, I love your idea about the millennials. By the way, keep posting the questions in the Q&A, guys. Anything and everything you'd like some help or support with. Here's another one that kind of comes down with it is how do you overcome stage fright or stage call reluctance, the hesitation to want to create a presentation if you're, what did they say? That public speaking is the second greatest fear of most people.
Yeah, well, so that's interesting. Yeah, whenever I hear that loan officers are afraid of public speaking, I find that kind of interesting because you've got to be in front of the public. So if it's a matter of, you haven't presented in front of a group before, I mean, there's definitely strategies to address that. It's something that, one of the tutorial modules that I have helps people overcome that. But I think it just comes back to, when I remember the first time I spoke, right, I was scared to death. I had cotton mouth and all that kind of stuff, but I got through it. You know what I mean? As long as you have somebody to walk you through that process, you've got a talk track to run on. Oftentimes I have loan officers team up with their affiliates, right? Title, escrow, home warranty, pest control, attorney, and they do the presentations together so they can share responsibilities, and that often is a good solution. So as you get more questions coming in, for sake of time, I'm just going to keep moving forward if you don't mind, Erik.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, great. So I want to transition into, right, as I promised, how to double your agent referrals in 90 days. And look, it's January. We're just a few weeks into the new year, and we talked a lot about, having the right plan, strategy, and executing. And this goes to a couple of the questions you just proposed is, right, oftentimes the issue people struggle with is how do I produce the content? How do I actually put an event together? How do I get butts in the seats? How do I use that presentation as a leverage tool to now convert to real estate relationships, referral partners? And that's where I come in, and that's where this e-learning class, if you will, this online series of modules that I've put together. I want to take a moment, if you don't mind, and just briefly tell you about it. And maybe it's for you, maybe it's not. That's okay. We'll just get right into it and talk about it. So what is Powerful Presentations Masterclass? It literally is a kind of a done-for-you, right, course on soup to nuts, on everything you need to know about how to build your local platform by giving presentations in front of real estate agents or other referral partners. It can be leveraged to do in front of anybody you want, right? So this is a picture of me on the left talking to a real estate agent. Yes, face-to-face. I know, what a concept. And on the right-hand side of the screen here is a picture from that actual presentation, and it's only, as you can see, half of the room. This is the left half. Over here is the other half. In the back, you can see a table with my co-sponsors. These are title, home warranty, moving and storage companies, and things like that. I involve these people because they either A, help fill the room, or they help defer any related costs to the room, which oftentimes are zero or very little, especially if you follow the process that I show you how to do. But question for you, how many here looking at this picture right now on the right, how many of you think if you follow the right process, you would be able to capture a handful of real estate agents just from this, if this was you in this presentation alone? How many of you think you can convert that just on your own to actual referral partners? And let me just see what people say, Erik. Yes, no, maybe.
Yeah, yes. A very small percentage. Coincidentally, folks, let me chime in really quickly. This is being recorded, and a couple of days after, a little later in the week, once we get time to do the back-end editing and everything, we'll be sending out recordings. So if you do have to jump off here at the top of the hour, feel free. We are going to be forwarding information out to all of you after the fact. But there's a couple of special things that Geoff has for you. If you can hang on, please do. Otherwise, we'll make sure we follow up with you later in the week.
Yeah, so interesting. Somebody said, yeah, I mean, most people say yes, yes, yes. Somebody said a very small percentage. That would be interesting to dive into that a bit more. I would think that, you know, look, if it's a small percentage of 50 or a small percentage of 1, what would you rather have? And I think that goes back to the concept of why you need to get in front of groups of real estate agents, because it's going to be a small percentage. You're not going to convert 30% of the real estate agents you meet with, right? You're simply not, right? Whether it's one-on-one or in small
Want
groups.
to.
And you
Sometimes you don't want to.
yeah, and I think the concept to keep in mind here with the presentation is, folks, is this, is that A, you're building your local platform of awareness, number one, and it's a whole different positioning thing when agents are coming out to a room and you are the host of that presentation versus door knocking, cold calling, hey, want to meet, you know, talk about how I can help you in your business. That's all great, but guess what? This is a platform and a format for you, you know, multiplying that and being able to now have 20, 30, 50 agents that you can now qualify yourself when you make those calls and say, thanks for attending my presentation. You have your research done on the agent, you have your title rep pull their production reports, whatever it is you want to do, and then you start to identify and classify the A, B, and C players of real estate agents that you personally want to follow up with and put your focus and time in. Hopefully that makes sense. Anything else you have that's more relevant, Eric, feel free to throw it out. But in terms of content, you know, questions came about how do I find content that I present. Again, this is what is part of this Powerful Presentations Masterclass. I put together the content, right? One of the recent presentations we made available to our members is this, Millennial Marketing, right? How to engage and profit from the most influential consumers in history. This is a done-for-you PowerPoint deck that I put together, walk you through a tutorial video on how to present, educate you on the topics, and then show you how to in turn present this in your local community in front of real estate agents. A tremendous value add for real estate agents, educating them on the millennial market. Another example presentation is the new rules of real estate marketing. Sort of what we talked about here today with content marketing, helping realtors understand how to leverage content marketing and help themselves build their own local platform online and get noticed and get referrals and leads, etc. So does this work? Well, you know, obviously I could sit here and tell you yes all day. You probably wouldn't take my word for it. I'm arguably a little biased. So here's 3 quick testimonials from clients. Sue Woodward, actually, I've been doing this so long that I helped Sue Woodward put on her presentations back when she was still a producing loan originator. So that'll give you an idea how long I've been doing this. Sue, as you see here, had 87 agents attend, and she used that as a process for her growing her mortgage originator business, as I said, when she was originating. Travis Newton, good guy out there in, where is he? Idaho? Oregon. That's where he is, Oregon. He had done an amazing thing in chasing. Has anybody ever done this? You're chasing agents a year or two and they never respond to you? Yeah, same thing happened with Travis. He's chasing a couple, 3 top producing agents. They didn't respond. Lo and behold, they wind up coming to his presentation. He winds up converting those agents within a matter of weeks of them coming to his presentation, and then he earned their business to become their primary lender. And then lastly here, a recent success grad here, Jeff Cadlick, People's Mortgage out in Arizona. This is the only way he got back into the business after being out of it for some time. From his first 2 initial presentations, he landed 5 good agent partners and got 3 loan referrals. And by the way, follow the process in the system. These loan referrals either happen on site or within days after the presentation. And this is the only way Jeff is going after real estate agents for his business now. Here's an example of Jeff with a done-for-you marketing flyer that's included in the system. I'll show you that in a second. Here's another student, Lauren Acosta. She's out in the Reno, Nevada area. She's used this to build her local presence in a brand new area for her that she just moved there. You can see on the left-hand side here, this is an example of the promotional materials. When you ask about how do I get butts in the seats, how do I ensure agents are going to attend, this is exactly what I help you do. Here's an example of the done-for-you marketing flyer that's customized for you, and it gets produced for you as a PDF. You simply download that, share it, email it, print it, whatever you want to do. Okay, real quickly, I'm going to transition for a moment, Eric, to a screen share here of the actual membership area of the Powerful Presentations Masterclass. So here's what's included in the private membership. This is you logged in as if you're a member here. You can see we've got 5 different video modules and a bunch of bonuses. This is well over 5, I think it's 6, 7 hours of education here. In each of these modules, I'm walking you through the entire process, right? As you can see, step 1 is planning, right? How do I plan for my presentation in terms of where am I going to host it? What day of the week should I host it, etc.? What are the tools that I'm going to use? So you can see right here, we've got basically a 40-minute video. How do you order your custom seminar flyer? Right here. You simply fill out the form, put in all your details, hit submit, and within 2 days you get a flyer sent back to you customized like the one you saw. Additionally, in here are tools, and the video module shows you how to set up your own Eventbrite website so you can invite people online, handle registrations. Module 3, you can see, talks about promoting, right? How do I get butts in the seats? Okay, I'm going to walk you through that right there. Module 4, presenting. This is an entire class on how to present, right? Effective tips on delivery, how to prepare, right? You've got your downloads of your done-for-you presentations here, right? You can see the millennial one here. You can see the feedback form that you use to actually set appointments in the presentation. This is where you're going to walk out knowing who you're going to follow up with and call back the day after that presentation. These are the agents who have raised their hand and said, hey, I like what you shared today. I'm interested and open to learning more about working with you as a mortgage professional. And then here's the other deck that's available for you in terms of just a sample of the ongoing content you get. Every quarter, essentially, every 90 days, you're going to get a new PowerPoint deck done for you. You're going to get a new video that walks you through that deck and teaches you the content on there so that you can simply replicate that in your own local area. Module 5, we're going to talk about follow-up, which of course is where the magic happens. This is how to effectively leverage the attendance at your presentation to actually now convert them to appointments, qualify on the phone, qualify in person, begin to build those actual referral partner relationships. And the bonuses section here, these are other tools that you'll learn about as you go through the modules here. Free shareable content that you get in between your presentations. So if you picture this, right, the consumption model for the average loan officer is to give a live presentation about every couple of months or so. And the reason why is there's some promotion time that goes in between that. You've got other stuff going on in your business, right? So if you want to do one monthly, that's a whole different conversation. So right now we put this together so that every 90 days you get a new done-for-you PowerPoint deck. But in between there, you get all kinds of cool shareable real estate agent content that you can either repurpose online for your social media, you can print out for your coffee meetings, etc. You can make available during your presentations, etc., etc. So these are just a few of those examples. It's an ebook on how to buy a home, right? These are all being updated for 2016. It comes with some other resources. Additionally, in here, you are going to get regular hot seat interviews. These are audio interviews with either past graduates of this course or other top producing mortgage professionals, things you can learn from them about how to effectively capture and convert real estate agents to referral partners. So that is a very quick high-level overview of the actual membership itself. Let me bring the PowerPoint deck back up. Here we go. For summary, once again, what you get is the entire e-learning video modules. You get a new done-for-you entire presentation deck every 90 days. You get the promotional marketing materials. That's your custom marketing flyer. Obviously, the tutorials show you how to set up your website. Very simple and quick to do. It's free, by the way, to use the Eventbrite website. You get the shareable agent content that you can share on an ongoing basis so you can build your local platform as a thought leader. You also get a private coaching call with me so that I can get you off to a fast start. You get monthly group coaching calls so you can learn from the group as they all go through this together. The hot seat audios, the templates and resources. You get unlimited email access to me. And by the way, I'm very generous with my time. People call me because I give out my phone number. I take the call. I return the call. I want to help you succeed. There's nothing I love more than that. So if you added up everything in here, right, the total value in this thing is almost $2,500. Erik and I teamed up because we want to make a special offer available to you guys. Normally it's $397 to do this on a quarterly basis. That means every quarter, right? Students are paying $397 to get access to the new deck, to the new content every single quarter. What we've done is put together a structure that hopefully is easy for you to test out. It's really what we want to do here. What we're saying is this, is that if you're interested in becoming a member, getting started and building your local platform, giving your presentations, you can get started right today for only $247 to get access to all that stuff. And then you've got an entire 90 days to evaluate if you wanted to continue along this path or not. So what we're saying is every 90 days, the membership renews at that $247 amount. You can decide to stay with us or not. You can cancel anytime, do it once, do it 3 times, whatever. We're trying to make it very low risk and allow you enough time to be able to really evaluate if it's going to be right for you. Obviously, the goal being get out there and do your first one with my help, following the process and system, and you'll see the results. So we will pause and take some questions in just a moment, but I want to put up this website address for those who want to just go there right now. You can see the URL right there. It's mexcelcoach.com/PMC, right? And there's a promo code for you to get that discount to get down to $247 on your as you check out in the shopping cart, but the promo code is MAXPMC. So once again, to reiterate, right, you're getting this entire Powerful Presentations Masterclass, 5 modules, e-learning system, only $247 today, and then you've got an entire 90 days, right, for evaluation, for putting it to work, for us working together to get you your first live presentation and get success, get results. Once more, I will bring up the URL. Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely. I was going to chime in, guys. You know, the practical reality of this is, you know, the biggest resistance or friction we see in implementing this kind of stuff is, you know, how much time and energy and effort goes into preparing these materials and being able to set up the audience and everything. I know I talk to loan officers every day who would love to be able to have good content. In fact, frequently they get asked to speak or present at office meetings and do lunch and learns for the local board of realtors and stuff like that. And those groups are constantly looking for speakers and topics of value and relevance to their audience, the Board of Realtors. And as a result of that, the biggest hesitation and the number one reason that most loan officers turn those opportunities down is because they're afraid of what to say. They don't have the kit, they don't have the materials and resources. And obviously you guys can see that Geoff does a great job and his team do an awesome job with creating high caliber, high quality content, stuff that's easy to use. And I'll tell you from my own personal experience and from feedback we've had from, you know, from many people that have used these materials and resources in the past. One of the reasons that, you know, I brought Geoff back onto this webinar series is because of the positive feedback that we've gotten from the people who have participated in these programs in the past. And you know, if you just think about the ROI on it, you're talking $247 a quarter. It's less than $100 a month. If you're doing, you know, even one loan extra a quarter, one additional business partner who refers you 3 or 4 deals a year that you develop out of these presentations, you're talking thousands of times, you know, percent return on investment. You know, a 12 to 1, 15 to 1, 20 to 1 return, even if you're, you know, at the lowest end of the scale from a compensation plan. Commission per loan model. You know, I mean, when you're talking something that ends up being, you know, $247 a quarter, what is that a year, right? I mean, it's less than $1,000 or what is it, around $1,200-1,500 a year. That's what most loan officers make in one loan. And so as a result of that, you know, just think about that. And guys, like I said, I know Geoff offers high-quality content, high-quality materials that I know you're going to be pleased with the results of it. And if not, there's very low or no risk.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for that. I know we're coming to the top of the hour, and I think a couple of questions popped in. So why don't you take a quick glance at those, and I'll just reiterate for people, the private coaching call with me is for the first 10, right? So the first 10 who want to join and become a member of Powerful Presentations Masterclass, we're going to note those, and the first 10 will get that 30 minutes of private coaching call with me. Everyone still gets unlimited email access from me. So once again, right, the total investment is only $247, and it is a quarterly renewal, so that, again, we're allowing you those 90 days to get started, test it out, get your results, and work together on that. I know in terms of the, once again, yeah, the URL, mexcelcoach.com/PMC, and use your promo code MAXPMC. A couple of questions we have in there, Erik, that might be relevant to bring up, and I'll see what else.
Yeah, definitely. And by the way, guys, again, I want to thank you for your time and appreciate the value that, you know, the investment that you've made. One last thing I'll make as a quick comment before we jump into some other questions. I know, Geoff, you've got a very busy schedule, but hopefully you'll be able to hang out with us for just a bit. But there's one last thing I wanted to encourage all of you to do. You know, you've invested an hour of your time. You've taken the initiative to follow through on participating in today's program. Do something with it. Take 30 seconds before you turn, you know, on that next phone call or respond to that next email, and put an action plan in place of what you're going to do with the information you've received today. If you follow this little simple 4-step model, you know, what was the most valuable thing you heard in the program? What action do you need to take to make that idea happen in your business? By when are you going to take that action? Put a deadline or target date on it. and then who is going to be your accountability resource and partner that you're going to ask to follow up with you regularly on your progress and performance. You do those 4 things, you have a 95% chance of following through on implementing that best idea. And of course, if you'd like some help or support, if you'd like to find out more about the one-on-one coaching programs that we offer here at Maximum Acceleration, just hop on the website strategy session, schedule a no-cost, no obligation appointment with one of our coaches, and we'll get you hooked up for that. But there are a couple of questions here that we've come across, that are a part of this program. One of them is the 247 for the first quarter only, or the remainder of your investment. I guess the best way to phrase that, Rebecca, is the way that we put the program together. It is a quarterly automatic renewal. Obviously, you can cancel it at any time, but each quarter, 90 days out, it'll automatically renew for the next quarter of membership. A quarterly membership, I guess, is the best way to explain it. That gives you the full access for the entire 3 months of the program, all the bonus tools and resources that Geoff introduced you to, new programs and new content each quarter, so you constantly have a cycle of fresh materials and fresh PowerPoints and fresh marketing resources for new topics that are going to be timely and relevant to the market and the agents and what they're going through at that time or stage in their career and time of year. Like, for example, the late spring presentations are going to be based on, like, for example, selling and differentiation strategies, how to articulate why a buyer should work with you versus the competing realtor. So it's going to be about selling and presentation strategies and how to maximize their business during the busy buying season. Presentations through the late summer and early fall are planning to win and team building and how to grow their capacity to do more than 2 deals a month as an agent and get to those higher levels of performance, and what do you do when you start to exceed your ceiling of capacity. That's the kind of content that Geoff is going to be providing to you on an ongoing basis, so you always have new stuff to be talking about. Which is one of the other challenges of trying to keep up with this. So that's why it's a membership-based program. That's why it's part of an ongoing community that you can become a participant in and add value to as a member. Does that make sense? Does that answer that question?
Yeah, it was good. I think it was very clear. Yeah. So.
Right. The other one that always comes up is the issue of CE credit that was asked. Yes. Okay, sorry. The question was about whether it goes back up to the regular rate of $397 or whether they would be locking in the membership at $247 a quarter.
Yeah, right. No, so it maintains the $247 amount for the entire duration of your membership. That's the kind of the offer we're putting out there today to encourage you guys to take action. So outside of today's offer, right, it would go back up to the normal price, but for you guys now, $247 ongoing.
Right. And just so you know, guys, I did the math on it real quick. $247 a year is less than $1,000 a year. At the regular $397 rate, you're talking almost $1,600 a year. So it's about a $500 savings to go ahead and take advantage of the opportunity to participate as a thank you for joining us on today's series and today's programming. Other questions? Let's see. There's another question here about the informative presentations that can earn CE credits. I know you and I've talked about that a little bit in the past, Geoff, but why don't you go ahead and address that one real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. So CE credits is something that is on my radar and that we're evaluating and working on. Currently, the courses do not have CE approval because, as you probably well know, CE credit approval is different in every state with every association. So it's a bit of a bandwidth challenge to contact every local state organization for the realtors and to get that approved. But it is something we're looking at doing. I will also say that there's a number of students who just take it and submit it to get their approval on their own. Through their local board of realtors and begin that process. And depending on the nuances of the local board, sometimes that's successful, other times it's not. I would say this is that I see the value of CE credits in that agents need them. So you could consider that as hey, they're going to come out because it's got CE credits, and that may be true. And I would also want to look at it from the angle of I don't want agents just to come out for CE credits. That's not the type of agents I'm looking for. So I don't necessarily, it's not a huge concern for me that I don't have CE credits on a course, but as I said, right, it's something that you may want to pursue in the short term yourself, and that we're looking at, perhaps a way to scale that and get nationwide approval on some things, but that'll take some time. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah. Right. Well, and as you'll notice, we're starting to do more and more regional, Maximum Acceleration as a company, we're starting to do more and more regional conferences. Like, for example, I'm going to be out in Oregon, in Salem, and then in Eugene, Oregon later this week, and we're going to be doing different programs with in conjunction with the Oregon Association of Mortgages, Oregon Mortgage Association chapters in those areas, and we actually were able to get a couple of hours CE for some of the content that we're going to be sharing with the audience as part of that one-day planning summit that we do called Maximum Growth Summit. And in the area of homeowner advocacy and communication and negotiation strategies, which are qualifying categories under CE in those states. Other states are much more difficult, and have much more rigorous rules and regulations as far as course provider approval and instructor approval and those kind of things. So it may be possible that you could take this content and get it qualified in your area. It's just something you have to work with your local association on, because you may actually be able to get that done. It was actually relatively easy to do out in Oregon, so just something to be aware of. All right, guys, so any other questions, feel free to go ahead and post them here in the Q&A. Those of you who have already hopped on and taken advantage of the, the offer that's been presented here with Geoff, thank you, and good luck with getting the seminars on track and getting them scheduled. I look forward to seeing the kind of results that you guys can forward back to us as we move forward with these kind of conversations. Beyond that, definitely looking at other opportunities we can, and feel free to, as we leave the platform open here for a few more minutes, comment in or chime on other programming you'd like help and support with as you look to grow your practice over the coming year. Please chime in and let us know the kind of content and ideas. If you have any thoughts of what you'd like to get some help or training on, please go ahead and post that in the Q&A now. We're always looking for ideas and new content that you'd like information about, and we want to try and tailor the programming as best we can to the needs that you as originators and realtors are experiencing and how to grow your business. Beyond that, if you are interested in taking advantage of the offer to find out a little bit more, if you are serious about it, and it's not for everybody, but if you are interested in taking your career to the next level and you'd like some really focused and dedicated hands-on support. That is kind of what we do here at Maximum Acceleration with the coaching programs that we offer. So if you'd like to take advantage of our no-cost, no-obligation strategy session opportunity, simply go ahead and post the best phone number and email address for our team to contact you and coordinate scheduling on one of those one-on-one appointments. Like I said, you'll get some guidance and support on one particular issue or challenge you're working to overcome, and at the end of an hour you'll find out a little bit more about what and if and when it makes sense to maybe move forward with some coaching support. Otherwise, there's no cost or obligation for those services. It's just simply a matter of making sure that we're doing everything in our power to help you get from where you are to where you want to go as fast as useful, or as fast as humanly possible. All right,
well,
guys.
listen, Erik, I just want to say thank you. It's been an honor and a privilege again, and I'm looking forward to, for those new members that have just joined, and we did see a few come in, and hopefully that includes Rebecca, who I think was making her way over there. I look forward to working with you guys, and you'll be getting your email notifications once you complete that process, and we'll set up for the first 10 the private coaching calls and get you off started to get in front of a bunch of realtors here in 2016.